this is Regina's Rabbit Hole. I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like aggravated. I'm looking at all the videos, and you know how if somebody posts something that you don't like, the content, you can contact Facebook and you can complain? Well, I don't even have a button to complain, to ask how I can get my videos unmuted or how I could challenge it. Now, they've tried different tactics. Sometimes they partially mute. Other times they give me the option of allowing them to partially mute or not. Like, if like they'll say something in writing like the content may be owned by somebody else. Do you still want to use it? And you could press yes. Then when that didn't work, they would say that we're going to partially mute parts of your video. So I'm like, I was like downloading them and then I put the music back in later, but I realized that there's no reason for them to do that, and it's always something different. It's never one particular protocol. It fluctuates depending on who's policing my page. And so now I have footage that I would like to use from my page, but I can't. Because there's nowhere to even get it, the mute on it unmuted. There's no place to complain. So I could call and complain about somebody else's footage and maybe get their stuff removed or whatever from their page. But I can't contact anybody, physical person, to ask them if they can stop this ridiculousness with my page or why it's happening. Just the adversiveness. So what Facebook is letting me know is that you don't want me to use Facebook. You don't want people like me to use your stuff. So you're excusing me again. You're excusing us again. What will you say? That black women don't utilize the benefits that they have? We're not positive, we're negative. What will you say? How many times did I start my feed? You're a coward. You can't even be there for me to confront you with the same words that you use and twist against us. So I'm just like aggravated because this is happening to me. This is a growing theme. There's no money and no lawyer to confront what has happened to me already, and the reason why I'm being gang stalked in the first place. A lifetime of being locked up in and out of hospitals and my rights being taken away and my reality warped and bent so that other people can benefit from me not being in the place and not being able to take part in society, to not have my information or things included, for me to be considered a crackpot, but on the back end, almost every good idea that I have regurgitated and thrown back in the face with the mirror that they use. Meanwhile, I have almost every weird adversive thing that you could imagine happening to me to keep my spirits down and to make interacting most unpleasant, to make the isolation so bad and terrible that I want to tear my insides out and self-destruct and end up in the hospital on their medications, looking at them to fix me. You create the problem, and then you make facilities where you profit off of the solution. I know that you're not my solution. I've tried to utilize you as a solution, but we know that you're not a solution. You won't even allow me to dance without it being aversive. I can't live in my neighborhood without the neighborhood association and people that live around me making it aversive. I have electronic weapons being pointed at me to make me sick, to scramble my brain, difficulty sleeping. And the stronger you are, the more of a lab experiment you become, the more they mess with you. So that they can fix any bugs they have in their system to perfect it for the next person that comes along and wakes up. And they use us to police each other. I want a lawyer. Who do I even go to ask about what has happened to me? What is still happening to my daughter? Do you know that my daughter, they told her that she could sue for the amount of time that they kept her in the hospital? She's still not out because they don't have a place for her to go. I don't have a place to go. I'm still in my environment, and I want a better income. But the combination of my personality style, what they're doing to make things adversive for me to have contact with people, how can you do business like that? I'm like working on it. I'm working on finding my ways around it, but it's hard. And it's hard being empathic and clairvoyant. To what level, I don't know, because I didn't test myself. And you see these people and they look at you in the eyeballs, and you know what they're doing to you and who they are. And you can't touch them. You can't sock them one. You can't hit them over the head. You're not even supposed to confront them. If you confront them, they'll just look at you and say, I have no idea what you're talking about. With a whole system to cloak them and make you look foolish. Even though there's all this contrary evidence to show that there's definitely something wrong and something should be looked into. And that it's not nothing. If anything, there would be an inclination that something is not quite right. Look at how many times I did my feed. Is it my inadequacy? Or is it Facebook's? What? Is it the Wi-Fi cutting off that many times? Nope. The music was still going, so it's not the Wi-Fi. They were both on the same line. Somebody purposely shut it off that many times in that one particular song. And then even though I kept going, didn't give me the option to not partially mute the music and stuff. It's therapeutic dance. Do you know what they're doing right now at Shern? Using poets and dancers and stuff like that. Trying to find a way to merge with this fake God that they have, in the same way that I'm merging in and you know, with the real creator. They want something to merge and do whatever they're doing with this Shern, with this entity, the entities they're using and stuff there, with that porthole. So meanwhile there, where everybody thinks is fantasy while we're watching cartoons and Simpsons and all that kind of stuff, all this disclosure around us, we even know this stuff is poisoning us, plenty of documentary and information and stuff like that. But you, no, the story doesn't apply to you, to little everyday people like me and you. Yes, it does. That's what it's all about. It saturate us and all these things. So while I'm being electronically tortured, followed around, manipulated, used to improve quantum D-wave mechanic computers. My child lined up to go through the exact same thing that I went through in the hospital. And they do that to you. Do you know in Saudi, the American soldiers won the war by putting voice-to-skull technology into the soldiers? They put down their weapon and thought that God was speaking to them. That's real life. That was a whole army. Do you know that you can get an app on your phone that's a screensaver? and see yourself sitting on your front porch from a satellite. That's a toy tech. What kind of tech do they have now? Do you think they can't sit there, some jealous, nasty fool, and just shut my internet off, sitting there laughing? I watched her walk out of the house from across the street, where I'm not supposed to say anything because they live right there. I have to live with these people. I'm supposed to be crazy to even say that. But they can shoot people and do with all kinds of stuff they have. If you say anything, you look crazy. You look like you're the person that's doing something wrong. And that's the way they use us. Why are we condoning this behavior? Walk out of the house that she was visiting. Jump in her car. Felt her whole freaking aura. Buzz around her car like a freaking bull. Get in her car. Go into the parking lot down the street. Sit there. Turn her vehicle, her truck around. Sit there. Pull out in a weird way. You know how people drive, how they live? Turn her car around with that kind of vibe to it, and then drive up the street as my feed shut off again. And I know this is going to sound nuts, but not to those of you who are going through this. They have a way to see right inside my home for a long time. Can you imagine waking up and going to sleep every day knowing somebody's watching you that fucking close? I go to a meeting, they're saying things that I did not write on Facebook. I may have wrote it in my journal. I did not speak it out loud. I thought it. You think, what kind of world are you living in? Check this, right? Do you have a saved list on your YouTube where, okay, say you have a dance save list, a study save list, and a therapeutic dance save list. Okay, so that's 3 different lists that you're thinking of. So I like something, and I push save. This computer is so far into the 5D, into reading these different body alchemical processes and stuff that are broken down into zeros and ones. So they know when you're lying and the stress in your voice and all that stuff. All this stuff is recorded, and they're taking in all this information, and it gives them a picture. I press my saved list, and it goes to what I'm thinking most of the time. One time it didn't. I was thinking therapeutic dance, and it went into the dance file. I have many files. How did it know that I was even thinking of dance? How did it know what file I was thinking of? Now, you know, like if you look at my thing, I have so many different files. How did it know what file? So if you think that the quantum D-wave mechanics is not to the point already where it's actually reading your brain thoughts, what you're actually thinking, then you're wrong. Not only did they already get the information from your algorithms and stuff like that, your likes and your dislikes, and are training the AI. Pick a street sign. Pick the car. I am not a bot. Teaching the bot prejudice. In the same way, I am not black. I am not white. I am not poor. I am not ignorant. I am not that. Teaching the AI a brain pattern. This is the place where our tech is. Do you think that you could duplicate a thought through disclosure in the movies with all this high-tech stuff if it couldn't actually exist? Tesla used to think of things in his mind and then manifest them into real life, knowing that if he could make the puzzle and the pieces work within his mind, that they would actually manifest and work here. They would more likely work here on the plane if he could fit them together and make them work in his head. We are far more advanced than they allow us to feel. You don't give sheep the gun, right? And that's why creative thought is a weapon to people who want you stupid, docile. There's a difference between a child and a kid. We're not kids. They want us to be kids. Goats, food. Goat meat. Sheeple for the steeple. But we're children of the Most High. And that's going to stay that way, because that's what we are. In the same way that a flower is a flower, and soil is soil, and air is air. And my skin is the color of my skin. And you are who you are. And the Creator made all of us in the capacity and what she desired, what we're supposed to be. That's not going to be changed or deterred because somebody didn't like it. But yet you're sitting in the same carcass that's made of the same elements that the Creator made the world with. Why do you get to use your carbon body and state that it's better than mine when it's made of the same elements and substances of the Creator? And so if AI is coming alive, is anybody thinking of the way the mirror and all this other stuff, oh, AI is coming alive and you want so much to be God? Right? You want to be God, so you create the AI that is coming alive. But at the same time, the organic computer, us, we are also ascending and coming alive. We're awakening. AI is coming alive. Yeah. Artificial intelligence, the copies of the copies of the copies. We're copies of the copies. And they're copies of the copies of the copies making copies. Artificial intelligence is, for better or worse, coming alive. Okay? Embedding. Sleight of hand. A race. A race they cannot win. Every freaking substance you use to make those freaking computers and those parts to do voice to skull technology or anything else still comes from Jah. You think that you could make an advanced life form above the Creator. You can't even think above the Creator, knucklehead. You're still thinking. You're thinking like the kid. You're projecting and you don't even realize it. You're sick and you don't even realize it. And that's why you're a contaminant to the rest of the universe and stuck here on the planet behind a divide, and will be eaten alive unless you adjust and you assimilate, or you will die. You will not be able to enter the womb space. The female spirit is starting to really dislike you. What are you going to do, hit us over the head and take it? Or keep putting yourselves in peach tree dishes, being born without spirit and able to connect to the planet? Hook yourselves up to your little quantum mechanics, the computer, thinking that it'll be rise itself above God, above the Creator. With the very components that the Creator has made that make up the world, that you rise yourself above the very elements that you need to make that thing to rise above what? Does that make sense? So you can hide and laugh and press your little buttons. Shut off my feed, read my brain, take ideas, make your money. But you'll never have what you really desire. That's the ability to be us, to actually be plugged in with all that you do and all the poison you put in the world. The water, the food, the air, the educational system, the religion. Heck, narcissists. What do you call that? Not the soul meat, the poison meat, the other one. I forget what you call them. I gotta shut down my air conditioner. It's starting to get cold. I'm working on keeping that attitude that I need in order to get my needs met, right? How do you do that? And darned if you do, darned if you don't. State of mind all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm still waiting for other people to wake up so I can figure out where to connect. I need help. My child is in trouble. Okay? They're doing the same thing to her. We know that this behavior that they're doing can be documented. The voice-to-skull technology. The electronic harassment, the spying, the gang stalking. I have a list of things that can be documented. I'm sure that I have a very good case that would prove more than valid for documentation for gang stalking and the way the government has been misusing their institutions. All I need is to be able to put the pieces together with other people who do this. There's no going back in the other direction once you go far into one direction. Like, I could have very well just imagined, I just have a bad seed, right? We're just crazy and just got unlucky with the DNA and, we're just going to, it's hereditary. You're just going to be in the hospital and you're just going to be a loser. You're just going to be lost your whole life. And not looked into anything. Not found the correspondences with gang stalking and the bloodline and, stuff like fear of a black planet, fear of a black more Messiah, information about the Moors, in our history, about the Essenes, about the dragon, the Draco bloodline, about our planetary history, that we're so focused on little petty things, kibbles and bits that keep us busy, that we don't see the bigger picture and how these families and stuff, these structures keep getting the one up on us. Or did they? Did they actually put themselves in a position where they eat themselves, the snake that eats itself? How far in one direction can you go without having to pay the consequences? Energy never dies, it only transforms. And what did Marcus Garvey said? They'll be in the whirlwind. He'll come back with them in the whirlwind. We have the children under the altar. We have the saints. We have the martyrs. We have the ancestors. We have the elements. We have the planetary alignment. We have the fact that we're living through a very hellish state with a beautiful, righteous, godlike state of mind. If you can still smile, find something positive, and want to do something mutually beneficial in this time and age, and not get sucked into the tremendous amount of negativity that we have that we can all get deterred by. There's no going in the opposite direction. I can't ignore my children being lined up for assimilation. Being lined up to forget that they come from a bloodline that has a direct connection with the Creator. And that before we figure out how to really cultivate that, how to nurture that, how to develop that, how to make that more beautiful, there's people trying to steal that and do the stupidest little things, like when you go to smile and dance, they'll try to wash it away. Little petty stuff. Your smile, your dance, your essence is a very powerful thing. And energy never dies, it only transforms. Just thinking about my grandma. I have the comfort of knowing that she's pleased with me. When she was here, little story, I was a little girl. And I loved to shake my hips and dance. They were doing the hoochie coochie dance outside. My grandma used to live in the projects before she got her little house. And she had a big family, my uncles and aunts. And she's Christian, and shaking your hips just wasn't ladylike. So hoochie thing. And it was just a little dance, something that little girls do. She yelled at me and told me to stop. Embarrassed me in front of people. I didn't feel the same way about dancing after that. You know? And to be embarrassed, I'm already empathic and a little shy around people. And so when she did that, I didn't understand all the ins and outs and complications of her statement and her judgment or her moral values and where they came from or why or anything. I just knew that I was a child and I had to stop dancing like my grandma told me to, and I didn't like it. Fast forward, grandma's passed away. Before she passed away, she made sure that she gave me a picture. Picture. This time I will get it out. This is my grandma, Julia. I know, she fly, right? My grandma was, she was not playing. And her children are like, they all got swag. She stayed in the church. And she liked to do service. And before she passed away, she made sure that she gave me this picture. That's my great-great-great-grandma right here. Chippo. And this is my great-great-grandma right here. This is Johnny Bell. Ain't she a bell, though? With her umbrella and her watch. Johnny Bell is sharp. She is sharp. With her hat, Saturn on her head. And this is Julia. Julia Martin. Martian. This is Julia. The Jewel. And that's her daughter. And I believe that I reminded my grandma of her mom, Johnny Bell, who I actually feel like I look like, and my other cousin looks like her too. So anyway, essence, right? Yeah, so now, fast forward, got this picture. I have a picture of a woman that I love in my heart. And I'm glad that I have another photo of self to relate to, because my relationship with my mom was kind of weird and estranged. And image is important when you go to look in your eyes and you want to find something to love. To know that you're looking at the remnants of something that loved you back is very important. That's why knowing that the Creator loves you and that we emulate the essence of that is so important. We didn't start out in the hole, we started out with an A. Somebody told us a lie, that we started out in the hole and we had to prove ourselves to God. And that they were God, we had to prove ourselves to them in a roundabout way. But it's not true. I only have to prove myself to the Creator, and I don't have to prove myself. I'm just here to be, and be the best human being that I can, that I choose to. That's my interaction. Okay. So I like to dance. Getting over the anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and stuff like that. The chemical thing that I've got to push past. Every time I interact with you, although I look like it's so easy for me, right? I don't have a lot of contact with people. I was a hermit for some years. it's still taking me an effort to get around people and to be around people and to talk. It has nothing to do with low self-esteem. It has everything to do with what I'm feeling when I'm around you. And, you know, some stuff is just the memory of the interactions that I've had in the past. But that's been tampered with by the gang stalking experience that I've had in my history. Knowing that you're loved. I hear my grandma cheer me on when I dance. From being the little girl that she yelled at and told to stop shaking her hips, to the grown woman that she made sure she gave that picture to the grown woman that she still speaks to, that she whispers to, that she lets me know that she's proud and that she loves me. Getting rid of those negative self-messages is very, very important. To feel and to know that my grandma wants me to shake my hips. And why? It's therapeutic dance movement. I'm not on a stripper pole. And if I was, would she be okay with it? It's what we tell ourselves, the messages we tell ourselves. It's what we're okay with. What are we okay with? If I'm a representative of the Creator, and the Creator lives inside of me, and I need a corresponding frequency, a therapeutic, a holistic frequency, then that would mean that what's okay with me has to be okay with the Creator, vice versa. And that's why our relationship, our personal relationship, is so important. And that is why it's so powerful for other people to mess with that alignment. My grandma was a higher power. Her word was authority. I respected her. I wanted her to look upon me favorably. And although it may not have seemed like it, when I got away from her, when I didn't realize what was happening in my life and that it was dark, I didn't know that my brain was being changed. I didn't know that my life was being manipulated. I really wanted to believe that I was just a dysfunctional failure, a degenerate, an addict, a crazy person, whatever you want to call it. Just put a label on it so I can understand it, please. Anything. Anything. Like the stories you hear in the Nazi paperclip stories, Operation Paperclip, where they put the people in the room and they put the noise on and they torture them, and they'll say, tell me you like it. And they'll say, I like it. And they'll say, tell me you don't like it. Okay, I don't like it. You're lying. Yes, I'm lying. I'll tell you anything. Just stop. Just stop. I just want to fit in. I don't want to be the round peg and you banging me into the square hole. I want to fit. I want to fit. Yes, anything. Paper clips. What is the shortest distance between two lines to fold the paper? I want you to become what I want you to become. So I will fold your paper. I will bend reality. I'll make you fit. I will pound it into you. Forget about cultivating what you want. I'm elite and I'm royal and I'm this and I'm that, and I made myself up as God in your eyes, and I want it to stay that way. I'm going to dictate to you what I want. These societies and stuff, I have so much money and clout for so long that I could pretty much mold and shape cities and towns, continents. 1% owns what of the world? Having secret meetings and doing what? Good night, love. Thank you for joining me. Okay? This is a regular part of our world that us little, so-called little people are not supposed to know about. But you're not so little when the lights turn on and you have a direct plug to the energies and essences around you. My grandma roots me on. where once she was programmed to shut me down. The beyond is a whole different place. Energy never dies, it only transforms. And when I have my intent and my reason for it to be holistic, for it to be a way to exhort, for it to be a way to get rid of, to expel negative energies, to invigorate, and align with positive ones, to make my body alkaline, to connect with the Creator, to discover myself, to discover how I interact with you. Why am I dancing? Why am I looking the way that I'm looking? We don't do anything for no reason. And what is my reasons? What is my intention? To realign with all of that in a different way. And then to stand, oh my gosh, it was like, the Creator will really, really test you. And so what I'm saying is that all these things are very, very testy. Don't think that I'm not being tested. Or I'm cozy or whatever. There's reasons why I'm in the position that I'm in and I do the things that I do. Systematic, calculating, waiting, patience, strength, and love, diligence, planning, studying, learning, being obedient to the ancestral spirits, and waiting. Waiting as a generator, just acting out my design and learning and waiting for the opportunity to when it comes to me, I will be ready. I'm prepared and full and ready to give back whatever it is that I need to give back. How it cracks something in your freaking mind when you're doing all this stuff, but yet there's things and aspects about yourself that you just can't freaking help. Still waiting on a way for them to fit together properly. I hear white people tell these stories about gang stalking and whistleblowers, and they seemed, even though some of them got killed off, not to try to be funny, but some of them are standing, some of them got book deals, they have support, they have websites, they have followers, they have all this stuff from the experience that they went through. Time travel, the Montauk Project, people that are going through things with our government and with things in life, right? Where are our stories? It's not just them. I actually wrote a book. Did not publish it. I've got books around here that need editing. My spelling is atrocious, and the likeliness of the seriousness of all the things that we're talking about, I really don't want to make the bad move of putting a book out there and having it. That happened to me, I made some spelling errors and put it out there, and it was just not the quality that I wanted for the amount of seriousness that we're going through right now. And so waiting for the right time when I have an editor. When I can have somebody to do dictation. A lot of stuff is already here. It just, it's something about going through your own thoughts over and over and over and over again that they don't become clean. You can miss stuff when it comes to editing. And something with the frequency, it just gets thrown off for me. And so I'll write things and then try to do the editing. I'll work on the editing and go back through it a couple of times, and then it just seems like noise, and it becomes aversive to me, and I need for someone else to look at it. So I'm a perfectionist and with some things, and even in just being myself and being real, a perfectionist in that. I'm deliberately looking like a grunge on purpose. Do I look grungy enough? I hope so. because I was really working hard at it. When you see me look natural, it's funny. Do I look natural enough? Am I messy enough? Am I authentic enough? Do I look like I'm trying to get that other type of attention because I'm like not? And then if I'm not, why not? Why am I not willing to bend in the other direction? It's just so funny, the kind of weird stuff that we can go through with this media thing and trying to get the right balance, all right, and the proper energy, for what it is that we're saying. Yeah, so we're getting closer to the mark. I'm not the mark. Probably was. I'm not anymore. I'm my creator's child. I'm not a kid. I'm not a goat, not an animal. I'm not. If I am a sheep, it's the black sheep with the double hole. Okay. It's been a long day. I'm tired of being quiet about the interference that I have in my life. My daughter should have been released, but she needs a place to live. And with all the things that I do and all the talents that I have, it's not organized enough for me to generate a income. Because I don't really know how to do that kind of stuff. Hooking up with other people that are serious about what they're doing and can do that kind of stuff. It's mutually beneficial right now for me to have money. I got skills. I have talents. It's time. I just need some help organizing and promoting whatever. I don't know, whatever you people, how you do that. Okay, so it's like if you're going to have a party, I'll bring the food and you get the people. So hooking up with my network now, meeting people, learning how to talk to people and balance myself with the gifts and stuff that are increasing during this planetary alignment and awakening process too, and becoming more sensitive. So that also gives me a feeling of, and there's a lot going on, valid that I feel off balance at times, and spend a lot of my time making sure that I have that, and that I don't fall off of the deep end that some people are mercilessly working on putting me into. But I have my daughter's children, my children, and just looking at the stories of how many of us have lived and died without realizing what the heck was going on at all. What a joke that is for something. The things we're not supposed to know and see. Some of it really ain't pretty. Something needs to be done about this. I am asking for help for gang stalking. I have a story. My story alone with the patterns that they leave. Everything leaves a trail. My story is the perfect freaking validation. Even in my dancing tonight, seeing how many times my feed was interrupted. Like, they're on me like white on rice. And I'm not rice. So I don't like it. This ain't no wedding. Not for them. Not marrying the mirage. It's divorce. I've made a pact, and I enjoy my interaction with fire, water, earth, air, and ether, and the full elemental zodiac with you. All is self. We're waking up each other. The world is made up of each other. So, like, we definitely need each other. This is just another area that I have to allow people to help me in. As you have to allow me to help you with your stuff. My casa su casa. I got things that need help. And you got things that need help. And somehow, this is the yin and yang movement of the poles. Sitting in the middle, to me at this moment of this junction is like, okay, I'm not going to just be for all for me. And I'm not just going to be all for you. Let's do this differently and realign with what our Creator would probably have for us, realizing that we all have a different interpretation of life and the Creator, and allowing ourselves to make room for that. What's happening to me and my family is not right. Me not knowing who to talk to and where to go to express myself, to expound this thing, is a travesty. It's disgusting, and it's only going to spread. It is spreading. And when it gets to you, what are you going to do? You know that story. They came for them and nobody did anything. Came for the other one and nobody said anything. And then they come for your butt and you're yelling and screaming and ain't nobody going to come. You never said anything. You didn't care. You didn't even put the energy in there. It's karma. I'm putting the energy in there. I've been putting the energy in there. And I know it's coming back. I'm so, so grateful in advance. Much love to you and yours. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. This was on gang stalking and just needed to let go of some of this pain that I'm feeling. Let go of some of this pain that I'm feeling. They dare you to go and smash them. Smash them. The hurt and the pain that has been caused in my life and my family. And have to sit and look at eyes smiling at you. Good morning. I don't do morning. I've had enough tears. And you got the audacity to want your gated communities and your little flowery picture of life and deny it for others. For you to have a God and a life and free will, but no one else. And not even think twice about why. Why would you place yourself above all of the creators, above all of the other creators' manifestations? Got the audacity, cornball freaking idea. With your flesh breathing air. What are you doing? Oh, that's right. You can gene slice and you can do all this different stuff and you can manipulate all that, right? For how long? It's alive and you're a part of it and you wonder why you're rotting and decaying. And then you have the nerve to challenge anyone that's actually feeling, still connected to their feelings, that can feel hurt. And then develop a whole society that's unempathetic toward the pain and suffering of everything around it. It's like so many things are so wrong. But I'm grateful that we are waking up. That I could even say this stuff right now without ending up on a tree or being drowned in a lake or burned at a stake or my head chopped off. So there's some development, although it was arrested, and parts of other aspects of it we still need to raise the bar, okay? Because torture is just looking different. You know, it went sonic. It went supersonic. You can't see it, but it's there. They're still torturing people and hurting people. In Connecticut has one of the highest suicide rates. Why is that? Could it be voice to skull technology? You're no good. Nobody likes you. You're isolated. You're all alone. You're crazy. Don't you want to kill yourself? Kill yourself. They hate you. Nobody believes you. They think you're crazy. Remember when you were locked up in the hospital? Look how horrible we are to you. And nobody cares. We can just torture you and do whatever we want to right in front of everybody. And nobody will care. That's how useless and how meaningless you are. That's how cruel the world is and nobody will ever know. Just like when you were a child and things happened to you. And nobody came to help you and nobody will ever know. Doing the same thing. Don't you hate yourself? Look at all the pain you've been through. Remember the pain? Remember the pain, remember the pain, remember the pain, remember the pain. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Yeah, I looked at it, I remember. Wrote it down too. It's all documented. Thanks for that. I'm grateful that my Creator has used me for this journey. As a testimony. There's another Regina out there. I am the remnants of somebody else. How many of us lived and died without even knowing what the blip was going on? Had no idea that you weren't dysfunctional. Something was making you dysfunctional. Yeah, for real, for real. Nope, you weren't a jerk. You weren't just a wayward child. You had tampering. You had brain alteration. You had help. You had gang stalkers. You had your rights taken away. You had your perception altered. You had people that stood around and collaborated to let it happen so that you would not wake up, so you wouldn't cause any interference, so that they could take your thoughts and stuff, make money off of it. I used to hear symphonies in my mind, entire symphonies. Only thing I didn't know how to do was write down the musical notes. But I could, in the same way that I do the humming, the internal song, I would just hum them and sing them just to get them out of my insides, not knowing where to put them at. This music, these really extravagant musical pieces that I used to just come to me occasionally, not as much as they used to, different stuff. Maybe it's just crowded with all this other information, but that alone, you know, how many of us out here that have had arrested development and have been stifled, have been wronged, have been set into the motion, programmed to be one kind of person when that's not even who you are and you don't even know it. Criminals, it's like a contradiction in information when you look at personality. You start studying behavioral modification and personality. Certain personalities carry particular traits like criminal minds, and certain types of personalities don't have the empathy, don't have the second guessing. Why am I doing this? This is wrong. Like an addiction, certain behaviors carrying on the same patterns as if you're an addict, like you're driven. Why is that? Could it be that something tapped into your other responses, to your unconscious mind, giving you some subliminal messages and programming whole behavior patterns and lifestyles into people, puppeteering you, making you think that you're one way and you're another? It's another perception aspect of looking at all the carbon copies we have in our society and don't dare to be different. That's another dimension of it, what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah. I'm heated. I want change. I'm tired of them just being able to sit around and play their little games and do what they want and hurt people. I'm not the only one. And walk out of their house and do whatever they want to like they're not doing anything. Meanwhile, they tell you to trust them. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? Because I know you guys are there. Every time I walk out, I know you guys are organized and that you double team. You do street performancing and all this other stuff. Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Yeah, but I still have to be prepared to deal with your freaking nonsense when I go out in it. And that takes a lot of freaking energy and strength. I'm lucky I'm a triple generator. Made for this. Not ready to go into the other aspect and dimension of them with the crazy finger again. With the bull crap. What do you mean? We're stalking you. I didn't do anything to you. You're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. That's paranoid schizophrenia to think that your neighbors are doing something to you. What do you mean the neighborhood association is spying on you? Who are you? You're just a little peon. Nobody cares about you. Go get some pills, some medication, chill out. It'll be okay. Relax. Hope you don't commit suicide. Push the button. Push the button. Waking up in the middle of the night out of your sleep. Freaking smart meter sounding a lot louder than it did before. Freaking refrigerator humming. Freaking coughing every time. How many times you gonna come out and smoke a cigarette and act like you're coughing up a lung? And if I coughed that freaking much every time I smoked, I would freaking stop smoking. What are you, the Marlboro man or something? What's going on? Should I tape it? Will I look crazy if I start taping you? Or will it just suck up all my energy? That's what it's meant to do. I'm watching you watching me. Oh, isn't this fun? And aren't you laughing? Did I get anything productive done? And that's why I ignore the ass. Most of the time. There's occasionally, when it gets overwhelming, I'm learning to do this to responsibly convey what it is that's happening. Which is a great chore to do it without sounding totally insane, which is the whole thing is meant and designed to make you sound irrational, totally irrational. To make the other people around you say things like, little old you, what's so special about you where they would do all that? Come on now. Something was definitely wrong with the way you're thinking. Thinking a whole crowd of people just follow you and your little old self around. You ain't rich. You ain't famous. You ain't invent nothing. Why would they waste all that money and time chasing you around, doing all that? Because those are the times. That's how they get their information. That's how they will tweak their computer. That's how they will keep you in place. If one person can carry the influence of thousands, yeah, you only need to manipulate that one person. You don't need to. That is manipulating the thousands. If you know about human design and you know about, even with looking at astrology and stuff, you know that there's certain personality types, that bring it. What? They bring a spark. They invent things, create things, start stuff up, shake stuff. They turn energies. Walk into the room and light it up or shut it down. These personality types. You got bosses and people like that you know in your life. Children walk into the room and suck the air out of it depending on what kind of mood they're in, or light it up and make it like sunshine. Heck, you can do that. Pay attention and it will pay you back. Energy never dies, it only transfers. I'm here forever. Like Mama, like Earth. She ain't going out like Mars. And is it really out? No. Still alive. Traces and the remnants of times past and echoes into eternity. What we do now echoes into eternity. Marcus, what? Okay. I'm feeling a little better. Thank you so much, family, for absorbing some of this and staying with me. I appreciate you. Much love to you and yours. Stay strong. Stay alive. Stay